Hi friends, some of our students have asked us to give a quick overview of GPT-3 because there seems to be a lot of hype in the media about this very fancy model from OpenAI. So we thought we'll do a quick overview now. Again, this is a short video just giving an overview of the whole GPT based models with a specific focus on GPT-3 itself. Now for this, I'm going to assume the prerequisites that I'm assuming that you know are that you know about transformer models, and I'm also assuming that you know about the BERT models. Again, please understand that this is only a quick overview. In the next 3 to 4 weeks, we will do exhaustive live sessions where we will discuss the internal mathematics and some code implementations of GPT based models. So please understand that this is only an overview session, not a thorough in-depth session, right? But anyway, we will be conducting a few live sessions in the next 3 to 4 weeks on GPT specific models. Cool. So now let's get some historical context and a little bit of overview of GPT models in general. So we had GPT-2 models, which were published in February of 2019. And they were simple extensions to GPT-1 models, which were published in June of 2018. Now you might know that a transformer model has an encoder stack and a decoder stack, right? So you have an encoder stack and you have a decoder stack in a typical transformer. In a BERT, you only have encoder stacks. You don't have the decoder stack, right? Thereby making training BERT models much easier than a standard transformer model. Again, in our course videos, we discussed about the transformer models. We implemented a transformer model from scratch in TensorFlow. We have seen code for BERT. We have seen the whole underlying mathematics for BERT based models in lots of detail, right? So I'm assuming that you know some of those details so that it's easy for you to understand GPT also. So just like BERT is an encoder only stack of a transformer like model without the decoder, the GPT based models are decoder only stacks. Look at this GPT. So if you look at GPT-2, the largest GPT-2 based model has 48 decoder layers, and the task that it trains on, just like any other language modeling task nowadays, is to predict the next word, right? So the whole input to the whole input to this stack of 48 decoders is a text plus positional embedding input. And each decoder itself is much more simplified than a typical transformer. Each decoder itself consists of masked attention and feed-forward neural networks with, of course, layer normalization sprinkled here and there, right? So basically, it's a very simplified decoder, and it's a stack of 48 decoders. It has masked attention, just like any other decoder in a typical transformer model. And the objective that it pre-trains on is to predict the next word. So GPT-2, the largest GPT-2 based models, again, there is a small GPT-2, there is a very small, there is a large. The largest GPT-2 models, which were launched in Feb 2019, had 48 decoder layers, literally 48. The largest model had 48 decoder layers, and it had 1.5 billion parameters. And it was trained on 8 million web pages, right? It was one of the state-of-the-art models at that point of time. After this, Microsoft came up with a model which had, I think, about 17 billion parameters. That was the largest model that existed before GPT-3 was published. So this 17 billion model was from Microsoft Research. Cool. Now come May 28th, 2020, OpenAI, the same team which I believe is led by Ilya Sutskever, has announced a GPT-3 based model. Again, the GPT-3 based model is very similar to GPT-2 based model with some minor modifications. Again, please understand that GPT-2 itself is a very simple extension to GPT-1 with some minor modifications, right? Again, once you understand GPT-1 or 2, it's very, very easy to pick up GPT-3 based models. Now, in GPT-3 based models, you have 96 decoder layers. Look at the number of parameters. You have 175 billion parameters. This is literally 10x, 10 times the parameters as compared to any other model ever trained. If you compare it with GPT-2 based models, it's literally more than 100 times the number of parameters. Now, if you compare it with the Microsoft Research based model, Microsoft Research models, which were published, I think, in the second half of 2019, they had about 17 billion parameters. Now we have 175 billion parameters. This is the largest model ever trained that is publicly available to people. right? And this itself is trained on 1 trillion words, literally one of the largest data sets. So what OpenAI researchers did was they took the common crawl data. This is literally a crawl of the internet. I think they took data from 2016 to 2019. It's an enormous amount of web crawl data. They took obviously all the books data, all the Wikipedia data on which most models are built. But look at this. The most key important aspect about GPT-3 is not an architectural difference. Its architecture is just a beefed up GPT-2 with very minor, very small changes. The biggest thing is it's a much larger model with many more decoder layers, with almost 10 times more number of parameters than we've ever seen. One of the largest data sets that it's trained on. And this whole system was trained on a supercomputer that OpenAI and Microsoft collaboratively built. This supercomputer that OpenAI uses for most of their research has 285,000 CPU cores. It has 10,000 GPUs, and it has a 400 Gbps 400 Gbps connect between all these GPUs. It's one of the most beefed up systems that we know publicly of, right? And again, from an architectural standpoint, GPT-3 is exactly similar to GPT-2. But I think what makes all the difference is the number of parameters. We have never trained such a big model. We have never, at least we don't know publicly of models that are trained on this large data sets. And GPT-3, if you just read the research paper or blogs, it has some of the best performance on a wide spectrum of NLP tasks, whether it is question answering, whether it is sentence generation, on all sorts of tasks. It has one of the best performance for most NLP based tasks. Now, our predictions, if you ask any of our teammates, our mentors, our advisors, our whole team, we believe that in the next 12 to 24 months, companies like Google, OpenAI, Microsoft Research, Amazon, these guys will build models with 1 trillion parameters because they're sitting on a goldmine of data. Look at a company like Google, right? They have literally the web crawl data at their fingertips. And for them building or for them having this type of architecture is trivial. I'm sure they would have much more beefed up systems than this. Similarly, if you look at Microsoft, they have Bing. So they have a large part of the internet data, and they actually built this whole hardware in collaboration with AI. So companies like Google and Microsoft, maybe even a little bit of Facebook, they have the compute resources, they have the data sets to train a 1 trillion parameter model. So again, this is our gut feel. This is our prediction. We need not be 100% correct about it, but we think very, very likely in the next 18 to 24 months, maybe even in the next 12 months, we might see 1 trillion parameter models. Now, GPT-3 is something which is so large that it is hard for you to put it on your box and run it. So most of these extremely large scale models will be served via cloud platforms, whether it is Google's GCP, whether it is AWS, whether it is Azure, right? I believe OpenAI is also considering giving access to GPT-3 based models using a cloud platform of their own. Today, they have some APIs through which you can access it, but I think they'll give commercial licenses to use their GPT-3 based pre-trained models via their own cloud platform, which probably is built on GCP, Azure, or AWS. But very, very importantly, please don't read the media hype. The media hypes up everything. Most people who are writing these media articles are not experts in machine learning. They probably haven't read the research paper inside out. While there is some truth to what is being told, that this is one of the most important models of the last 5 years, which I think it is personally, and it's also one of the largest models without doubt. It's one of the most complex models ever trained, and it also performs very well on the results. But don't fall for all of the hype. So I would recommend that if you want to really learn about GPT-3, I'll give you some resources that you can read from. First of all, if you already know transformers and BERT, the internal mathematics of it, first learn GPT-2. GPT-2 is very simple. There is a very nice blog from OpenAI where they give a very high-level overview on how they designed GPT-2 with high-level metrics. Then there is a very nice blog by Jay Alamar where he has drawn beautiful diagrams. There is an illustrated explanation from Jay Alamar on his blog. Very, very popular blog for transformers, BERT, for GPT-based models, for transformer XLs, all of those models. Beautiful stuff that he has. So this is a great blog to read, and it's very, very simple to follow if you already know the internals of transformers and BERT. Once you understand GPT-2 based models inside out, then you can jump to GPT-3. As far as GPT-3 is concerned, there is a very nice blog by Lambda Labs wherein they give a technical overview. That's a good blog to read. Next, if you want to see some cool demos, there's a very nice blog from Towards Data Science where they've listed a bunch of very cool demos, whether it's question answering, whether it is sentence completion, those types of tasks. They have some cool demos that you can check it out. Similarly, I would recommend that you read this paper. It's a very simple to read paper. It's slightly lengthy as compared to typical papers, but it's very simple to read because the mathematics, if you understand transformers and BERT, understanding GPT is fairly straightforward. And if you understand GPT-2, GPT-3 mathematics is exactly the same. This paper mostly talks about various experiments that they have done, what happens with various data sets. So this is a very experimental paper, which is very light on the mathematical details, which makes it easy for you to read. So if you really want to read about GPT-2 or specifically GPT-3, these are some of the good blogs that you can refer, right? So as I just mentioned, we will be doing exhaustive live sessions going into the in-depth mathematical details and some code snippets for both GPT-2 and GPT-3 in just the next few live sessions that we would conduct. Again, currently we are doing a bunch of live sessions on Spark. After that, we have a couple of live sessions on NLP. As soon as we finish that, we will start GPT-2 and GPT-3 live sessions. In the meantime, if you're interested to read and learn more about GPT-3, here are some great resources at your disposal.